Our oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
In Gambia, deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave, Basel Mufine, Wave, your money is yours.
Coffee time on West Coast Radio. Thanks for joining us. Still to come, our obsession with titles. That's the subject of Alaji Barrow's talk today. But, another set of interviewees with me in the studio. So let's start right in the middle with introductions. Welcome to West Coast Radio. Who are you?
Thank you very much, Peter. I am Usman Dabo, the Vice President of Gambia Institute of Chartered Accountants.
All right. That's GICA. It was on the menu yesterday, so the conversation continues this morning. Let's have another introduce himself.
Good morning, Peters, and our very important listeners. My name is Lamin Jata. I'm a member of the Gambia Institute of Chartered Accountants, council member for that matter. Thanks.
Lamin, you're welcome. Very soon they'll tell us why they are. Let's just finish with the introductions. Last but not least, we know him very well here.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Matar Cham, Council Member, Gambia Institute of Chartered Accountants. Thanks to you and thanks to your respected listeners.
All right. You will remember that yesterday, the president of, a lot would say the impeached president of the Gambia Institute of Chartered Accountants was on, Mr. Paul J. Gay, and he gave reasons why at least 6 of 9 council members, should face disciplinary action for organizing an EGM emergency general meeting that he, as president, did not endorse. So let's start with the vice president. That's rebellious activity if the president is to be believed.
Yes, sure. So thank you, Peter. Actually, I will not call it rebellious. Maybe it's lack of information to the right people or misinforming people. So basically, actually, GICA is an institute of chartered accountants, and it is run by a council of 11 members. 7 are elected, and the others are co-opted as well. So currently we have about 9 active council members. The other council member is traveled on a long, this thing is not long absence. So basically it means we have only 9 on the ground actively running the affairs of GICA.
Okay.
So which means according to our act, for you to have a council quorum, you need to have at least 6 members, 6 council members present. And basically, in any meeting, according to the bylaws, the chairperson will organize the meeting for council to be meeting at a particular time and the agenda. In the absence of the chairperson, which is the president, the vice chairperson, which is the vice president, can chair the meeting with a quorum of at least 6 council members. And in the absence of all these 2, the 6 council members, without the president and the vice president, are still entitled to select somebody from amongst their midst to chair the meeting of the council. So basically, this is how the council is structured. And the same acts also emphasize that for an institute's council to run the business of the affairs of the institute, there should be no business transaction in the institute without the council approval. And also, there should be no individual person in the council, whether the president or the vice president, has the dominant authority to dictate how the flow should go. So basically, I will say we've started the council meetings, our council tenure this 2024, and then each council term is 3 years. So we are 1 year old, I will say. So basically, this is where we are.
Okay.
1 year old.
All right.
So
let's bring in Lamin. What necessitated this EGM that resulted in the impeachment of your president, or attempted impeachment of your president, because he contests having been impeached?
Thank you very much, Peter. Just the reasons why we are here is to make clearance of some of the allegations that has been said against council members. As you are aware, like as the Vice President did mention, the council is managed by at least 11 people as a council. And the affairs of the council cannot be carried alone by one person.
Yeah.
And I think what actually created the problem is because Mr. Paul Gay see himself as the executive president who has the absolute authority to decide when and where and what to be done within the council. As we always said, before a problem comes out, as administrator, you realize that there is an internal problem in the earlier stages. And because he feels like he has absolute powers, he will decide what he actually wants to do. And as a result, there came a time when the Vice President did call him to set up a meeting. And he blatantly refused to accept his calls. Whenever the Vice President called him, he rejected. And I think the evidence are available. He said he doesn't want to come to the council. He doesn't want to attend the meetings. He decided that he is not. Then the Vice President invited all the members. The 6 of us show up and attended the meeting, which was in the matters of GICA, in accordance with Section 15 of the Financial Reporting Act, because the Section 15 states clearly that no council matters can be carried out without council members sitting over it. Because he called us and we have to come, we had a meeting. After the meeting, we saw on his notice board, because he has a platform, which is he's the only person who sends to that platform, and it becomes a notice board because nobody can respond to that. And he said, we are suspended for not, for allegations that actually nobody can actually establish, like he was mentioning yesterday, because some of those allegations are unfounded. Particularly when he went to a point about talking about our integrity and about integrity, because we knew for a fact leadership qualities is important in running an administration.
Sure.
But unfortunately, Paul Gay lacked a single quality of a leader. I'm not here to castigate him or so, because I worked with him in the council and I knew how controversial he was. He was. This is why when he actually wanted to control the narratives and we decided to have the meeting, he feel like, okay, we are rebellious, so he has to suspend us. And council suspension cannot be done by one person. It's a quorum that needs to sit over an issue, decide it, and then push it where it is necessary to do the necessary suspension, because there is the need to have a disciplinary committee that will handle matters relating to disciplinary. But he chose not to follow any procedures.
So there is no disciplinary committee for GICA?
Not at the moment.
Oh.
And even some of the things he is saying, that we are a subject of disciplinary hearing.
Exactly.
Because, one, you cannot even establish a quorum. You cannot even meet who is it actually meeting for him to institute disciplinary measures against others as an individual.
Because he would need all 6 of you to get a quorum.
Exactly. He needed 6. Unfortunately, the information he's spreading out is false, unreliable, unethical, name it, whatever you can put it to. Because these are things that are actually, we don't expect as a professional accountant. Going around, slandering people, even pointing out by mentioning them by name is so unethical. It is not, that's what we were taught. And that is why when he actually tried to brag, and I know the latter part of the interview, he was trying to promote his firm by saying he's an international firm.
Isn't he?
Well, he's just maybe a third tier of the international firms. I personally, I am privileged to work for Deloitte and Touche, the Gambia here. In that case, I work for the Big Four. So actually, he cannot actually brag about that. And what actually he's saying, any firm in the Gambia here that is interested in partnering with a second tier or a third tier firm in outside the Gambia, it's available. Because I know most of us here who are running firms have received a lot of requests from others for partnership. This is just unbearable. The reason why we come, because we have heard a lot of his going around saying whatever he wants to say. And what he said, some people cannot prepare financial statement. I think that is absolutely false. Nobody will hold a practicing certificate who cannot actually prepare financial statement. And moreover, we have almost 30 years of experience. And most of us here, the least probably could be around 10 years of experience. So I strongly refute whatever he has said here. And I know if you are to put it into statistics, 90% of what he said here is completely false. To some extent, he's lying about the the Minister of Finance instituting a committee for disciplinary hearing. That is not true. The letter is explicitly clear of what it says there. It refers him to go back to the council. So if he is referred to go back to the council, why didn't he come back to the council?
Well, you held a meeting and impeached him, so he had no counsel to
exactly.
go back to.
And in fact, on that aspect of the impeachment, there are procedures. We actually send a notice to every member that an EGM is called for because there are some challenges within the council. And it's an opportunity for him to come and attend the EGM so that he can clear out the air, what has gone wrong between the other members, and the general membership were sitting down probably to listen from both sides and then try to see how best they can resolve the problem. Unfortunately, we do not actually want that division. This is a profession that we have in our hearts, and it's a voluntary thing that we are doing, serving in the council. But he's taking it personally as his personal problem. Property. This is why when it gets to that, and what he did, he insubordinated the notice that has been issued, and he said it's illegitimate, nobody should attend. And senior members of the profession were there. Who is he not to come and attend? Choosing that he is above the law, so he owns the council. Perhaps maybe he has a different motive. That is why he's not coming forward. Thank you.
Okay. Pamatar, what do you have to say?
Well, first, I have to thank you again, and then my colleagues here, and again, your listeners. First, I have to admit it's rather unfortunate we're having this discussion in the first place. Accountancy profession is a very noble profession, and what we are known for is to resolve problems, is to contribute towards economic development, to contribute towards national development in general. But we are here today because of governance issues we've been grappling with at GICA. And just to give a few rundown, just to give a short synopsis of what transpired.
Well, you have time.
Yes.
You can be as detailed as you like.
Yes, so here we go. I just want this to be made very clear, because it's really disheartening to listen to a so-called president of a financial, or let's say an accountancy body.
So-called? Is he not president anymore?
He's no longer president of GICA. He's been impeached. He's been voted out of office. That's the fact. But regardless of that, we expect certain decorum to be exercised, particularly when you're having a large audience of different people, professionals and others. I mean, when I say professionals, professional accountants. Mm-hmm. But that was completely lacking in the discussion. So this is what happened. We were voted into office in March 2024. And at the initial stage, there's a requirement for the council to constitute certain committees. That is as per Section 17 of the Financial Reporting Act. Now, at that meeting, this was one of the first few meetings we have. When we are constituting the committees, or establishing the committees, Paul Gay nominated himself to be the head of the technical committee. Now, the technical committee is the committee responsible for reviewing application of practices, certificates, accountancy audit. So basically, when people want to practice as auditors or chartered accountants, this is the body or committee that is responsible for assessing their application and make recommendation to the council to either accept or reject. Now, we had a problem with that because Paul is a practicing auditor. He runs a practicing firm, and he's the managing partner of that firm. Now, to have him as not just a member, but also the chairman of a committee that would decide whether a competitor can come into the market or not is something that is troublesome professionally. And we rejected it on professional grounds. He was not happy with this. After a protracted discussion, because he was the chairman of the meeting, he said, okay, I don't have any problem with this, but I'll refer the matter to ACCA. And for your information, in Gambia, just like he said during his interview, we don't have a recognized professional body, accountancy body. For you to become a member of GICA, you must be a member of a professional accountancy body. Like, for example, majority of us here are members of ACCA, that is the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, UK. So you cannot be a member of GICA unless you are a member of ACCA, you are a member of CPA, for example, the Certified Public Accountants, US, New Zealand, for example, Australia, GICA, that's the Institute of Chartered Accountant, Nigeria, and also Ghana, because they've established one. So this tells you how, because there's a distinction between academic accountants and professional accountants. We are not trying to be segregated here, but that's the fact. These are highly qualified accounting professionals, and that's how they get their membership. Now, when he said he was going to refer the matter to ACCA, we're like, okay, let's see how it works. But to our dismay and shock, without any further consultation with the council, Paul just came out and said he has established an ad hoc committee, technical committee, to look into this matter. But we are like, it doesn't work like that. As per Section 17 of the Act, it clearly states that the council, not the president, shall establish committees. And part of those committees is the technical committee. So you as an individual cannot unilaterally establish that committee without the consent. And it is a clear violation of Section 15, which indicates that no action, no transaction shall take place without a duly convened council meeting. But as if that is not enough, now what we saw, even though he purportedly established that, he was into the business of writing. And for your information, as a council, we are not an executive council. We are a governing council. We have a secretariat that is into writing because as per Section 20, it's the role of the secretary of the secretariat, to be writing. But he started writing to firms. And take note, he is a managing partner of a firm. So we told him, we cannot work like this. This is not about Paul Gay. This is about the council. Don't take this personal. This is not personal. But then we came to realize that he had an agenda because Paul is working with his wife. They're in a partnership, not just partnership, civil partnership, but in a legal partnership in terms of their firm. And his wife, we understood, was working with one of the firms that was having only one partner. And then they severed in a very unpleasant manner. I think from what I heard, the matter ended up in court. So then it appeared as if this man is on a witch hunt because it's not reasonable the way he was conducting himself. So we're like, let's take a break. Why don't we constitute a duly established committee that will look into these matters? Not just you pretending that you have an ad hoc committee, but you're having kind of a shadow control over these people. We don't want it like that. He was really unhappy about this. at some point I was like, okay, maybe there is something more to this that we don't know. This is when the crack start. In fact, this is when the crack started. He started accusing people. And for example, yes, he mentioned there are farms that are operating with one farm. That is true.
With one partner.
With one partner, rather. That is true. That is something that GICA inherited, because initially we had 8 registered farms.
Is that right or wrong? Should it be that way or?
No, that is not right.
Okay.
That is wrong. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's section 32 that deals with that particular part. So what we said is that we came in, and we all agree as a council, because we have 8 farms, and 3 at the time were having that issue. As a council, we said, why don't we engage these people and then have a roadmap to say, you know what, this is the act. We know Gambia, when you look at the profession, Gambia is still at an infant stage. I mean, the UK and others, they've been there 100 years or more. So we're like, let's have a transition to say, by this time, this timeline, all of us, all those that are in default must meet the requirement by this given time. Mm-hmm. When we write to them, they responded through a joint letter, expressing their willingness to engage the council in order to resolve the matter. We propose as a council to have a one-to-one meeting with them, face-to-face meeting, because they may have specific peculiarities, specific issues that is inhibiting them from meeting the requirements. Notwithstanding, it's a statutory requirement, but we want to know one-to-one, how do we engage with them so that we can come with a timeline that will be reasonable through consultation. But he was not up for that. He again just went and wrote to these people, telling them we're giving an extension of this particular period, and if you don't meet it by that time, that is it. But who is he to write on behalf of the council? He doesn't have that authority, because, like I said, it's the secretary's job. And then as a governing council, we are not into those kind of business. But he has a vested interest, because I told him at one point, I said, Mr. President, I think you have a vested interest in seeing some of these people out of market so that you can take their clients. That's how it looks to me. Because you are directly having a confrontation with your competitors, using your office to do that. And that's not professional. That's not right. So he branded me as rebellious and all that stuff. But this is the core of the issue. This is the core of everything. And since then, Paul has been working in isolation. And then, just like my colleague said, GICA is established by the Financial Reporting Act 2013. And Section 9 is very specific. That's the council. GICA's affairs shall be run by council members of 11. And if you look at section I think 13.5, which is meeting, yes, section 13.5, the quorum for meeting is 6 council members. Now, Paul was just, we will be here, we heard that there is a letter being sent somewhere else that council members are not aware, and we're like, something is not right. We try to engage him. Let's have an in-house engagement. Let's discuss these matters. But I think, I'm sorry to say, I think he has an ego that doesn't allow him to listen to certain people. That's my belief. That's how I perceive it. I may be wrong, but that's how I saw it. Nothing was working. So we're like, we cannot be working like this. Let's have a meeting. Let's discuss, because there were so many other pending issues as well. So we said, why not we have a council meeting to address these issues? We proposed a meeting. The meeting has been proposed for a couple of times. Nothing was working. And at some point, we received a letter from the Financial Reporting Oversight Board that 2 board members nominated by GICA, their terms have expired, and we need to replace them as a matter of urgency, because Financial Reporting Oversight Board is a very, very important body as far as the financial regulation of this country is concerned. So as a matter of urgency, we want to deal with that matter. But Paul is saying, no, we cannot meet. He was not willing for any meeting to take place. We said we have to go ahead. We cannot be stuck because of one person. We called for a meeting. Like my vice president said, we are 9 at the moment. The 10th person has traveled. It's not for a long period of time, so he's not available. The meeting was convened. 6 out of 9 members came. He did not show up. During the meeting, just shortly before the meeting, because we share this thing through email and WhatsApp, he deleted this meeting notice in the group and did not show up. But we're like, but what is wrong with this guy? I mean, what is going on? We had a meeting, and then the minutes of the meeting were shared the following day. And when that happened, Paul went to, we have another GICA group where he is the admin. Literally, he closed it that, just like he said, is more of a notice board. Before it was an open one, but he's somebody who cannot take dissenting views. So because of debates and other things that were going on, he was not comfortable. He had to close the group. So only he can just send in and basically becomes a notice. He's the only person who can put anything there. So we're like, this is absurd. So, but then forget about it. He went to that group and claimed that certain council members have a breakaway, he calls it a breakaway council members, have convened a meeting, and then he alleged that we are trying to usurp the authority that is given to the council by general members illegally, and then he came up with all sort of false assertions that he himself knew at the time were false. So as we were trying to deal with that, subsequently, I think 2 days or so later, he came out to say that he has suspended all of us, all 6 of us that attended the meeting. But we're like, this is outrageous. As a president, he doesn't have any such powers. I mean, there is nowhere in the act that says the president has any power whatsoever to suspend any member. He doesn't have that power. And for your information, just like Paul, all 7 of us were not selected or appointed into council. We were voted into the council, just like him. And to make it very clear, we have to resolve this matter. We call him, we wrote to him, he will ignore everybody. I personally sent him a text message. If he's listening, he knew what I'm talking about. Mr. President, we have to talk. But he feels so big. He feels too big to engage and then discuss certain things. But that's okay, that's him. Let him deal with himself on that. We decided we're going to meet. We have to resolve the matter. We floated the ideas. Council members are like, you know what, we cannot continue like this. What we have to do is let's call for an EGM, the Extraordinary General Meeting, and then resolve.
That's extraordinary, not emergency.
Yes.
Extraordinary, okay.
And then we try to resolve the matter. Before you know it, I think he's now already on panic mode. He wrote to the Minister of Finance, basically requesting the minister to endorse his suspension of the 6 members. Maybe what he did not know is that Honorable Siddique is a very smart person. He's not just, he's one of us who, he's a member of GICA basically, and he's somebody that we call he holds double chartered accounting qualification. He's a chartered accountant through ACC and I think CIMA as well. So the man is up there. He knows what he's doing. Even though he's the administrator or the custodian of the act, I wish, Paul came here making false accusations, and I think he should be very careful because especially when you're mentioning an honorable minister.
What was false about what he said?
He said the minister gave a directive. If you listen to the audio, he said there's a directive from the minister that the 6 of us should be subject to a disciplinary committee. That is false. What Paul failed to tell the audience is that when he requested the honorable minister to endorse his suspension, the minister wrote back to him to say, based on the act, in as much as he is the custodian, he's the administrator, everything that he does should be consistent with the provision of the act and the relevant bylaws. And going by the act, he doesn't have any power whatsoever to suspend a member. But instead, a disciplinary committee is reserved that right to investigate, to suspend, to fine, or to reprimand a member based on certain allegations. In fact, if you look at the letter, I share a copy with you, they told him that even though he made those allegations, there was no accompanying evidence to that fact. They accepted. If those allegations are in fact, proven, then he has a case. But there is no evidence whatsoever. In fact, when he came yesterday, I thought he would present so. That's why it's even so disturbing for us as accountants, because accountancy in audit particularly is evidence-based. You don't just come and make outrageous assertions without backing them up. You present documents to say, this is what I have. How can you write to a minister, for example, requesting such a thing without accompanying with your document? And that is what the minister said. You don't provide us with any evidence in the document to act on what you say. Instead, refer the matter to the disciplinary committee, because the disciplinary committee is the committee that has the right and the prerogative to be able to do or sanction what you have done. But he came here to say, the minister said these 6 people should be, how is that even possible? So I think he should be very measured. We know you want to win hearts, you want people to side with you, but quote the facts the way they are. Don't try to distort facts. Don't try to misinform your audience, particularly accountants. And you calling yourself as a professional accountant, this I personally think is really a very bad job on his part. He cannot do that. And he keeps on saying that only few people, these are just few people that are just working to do this, trying to impeach him, trying to castigate them, trying to make, basically what he was trying to do was to trivialize a clearly substantive matter. And that is not acceptable. And for your information, Uncle Peter, this is the fact. Paul came to office in 2024, March. At that Congress, only 13 people voted Paul into office to become a president. 13 chartered accountants in good standing voted Paul into office to become the president of GICA. At that meeting, Osman, his vice president, was voted in by 11 people. So he only got like 2 votes more than Osman, the current vice president. Now, when we called for the EGM, these were not just ordinary people that attended the In fact, more people attended this EGM than the Congress that elected him into office. And that's the fact. And these are not just ordinary people. Who were there? All the council members, except him and the other 2, were not. But everyone else was there. Our senior members were there. Former accountant generals were there. Directors and CFOs, finance directors and CFOs of various institutions were there. CEOs of institutions were there. These are high caliber individuals that were in presence. If you want me to name you few names, for example, Abulai Tamilu was there, former GPA managing director, for example. Amadou Sane, former minister and also former president of GICA. He was the recent past president of GICA before Paul succeeded him actually. Gilan Senghor was there. CEO or managing director of Trust Bank, and his deputy Tumbub was there.
Her deputy.
Her deputy rather. Nelly Taylor was there. You can name the names. These are highly respected individuals in our profession. Mr. Job also was there, the finance director of Ali Job, finance director of GNPC. So he came here to make this look like, these are some, irrelevant people that are, no, that's not the case. And when we tabled the motion to vote him out, to cast a vote of no confidence on Paul at that EGM, only 4 people were not in support of it. Only 4. And guess what? 32 members said, yes, let's have him out of the office. This is about 300% more than the 13 people that voted him into office in 2024. How do you call that but we can understand that's how he is. And for your information, this EGM is legally binding. Members call it. He was invited. And to be honest with you, like I said, we were not surprised because we know he has this ego. He has this pride that I don't know where he got it from. He thinks he's better than everybody. And even when he came here, he was basically giving all the credit to himself rather than be honest to himself and say, hey, you know what, GICA achieved what we achieved because of our collective efforts rather than his individual.
Access Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bustle mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Let me bring in the vice president. So what's happening now? Are you effectively acting president, or what does the act say about this? Because now you have a vacancy. There's a vacuum in leadership.
Yes, sure. Actually, Peter, after the EGM,
yes,
it was part of the resolution that the 6 members continue, 6 members plus the other 2 members who did not come, to continue running the affairs of GICA. So which means, like you said, currently it's like a caretaker until the annual general meeting.
So you're officially acting president of GICA until there's a
annual general meeting. To decide on who should be the president, which is according to the rules actually. So basically, like how my colleagues say, all this we are trying to safeguard the rules, the Financial Reporting Act and the bylaws. And it is in black and white. If you go there and read it, you will see that even the EGM that he is complaining about, if there is an issue, in the council. Council members rule 22(1) says the council can convene an EGM to resolve that matter. Or otherwise, if the council did not do that, the members themselves can also request for the convening of that EGM. That is 22(2). So basically what happens during this back and forth with Paul, because we are trying to professionally sort out this matter internally, because it doesn't tell well to come out in public and these things that we can easily resolve internally, and it's something that normally happens in any organization. You bring a group of people together, they will never be on the same wavelength. That's why always this rule of majority comes into play, because people have to move. You cannot say these 1 or 2 people are not agreeing, so we will all sit there and look at each other. So therefore, the majority voice should be respected and people move on. So, but I think the issue is we are unable to agree because Paul is refusing to come towards us. We discuss the matter. So it happens like anything he did not say, come, nobody should ask him to come. Or nobody should say, propose something, and then he has to propose. So that's why he did not come. So it's like we are not resolving the matter. So now members write to the council requesting for an EGM because they see that it is high time we have an EGM. And that is sent to the secretariat. So councils meet and sit over the request and decided and say, this is what the members want. And this is in accordance with the rules. So what we need to do is, since Paul is refusing to come and we internally reconcile, let's go for an EGM and resolve this matter and put our cases back to the members. Let them decide. Now he's complaining about all this disciplinary committee. If you go to the bylaws, the ultimate decision-making body is the members. The members,
the General Assembly.
The General Assembly. Okay. They are the ultimate decision-making body. So which means even these things like disciplinary committee, all these committees are set up to support the work of the council and the general membership to be able to make a decision. And an EGM is a platform whereby each party, if there is an issue, comes and present your case, and then the members will judge according to your case and your evidence. So when we call for the EGM, we follow the rules and we look at the timelines for the notice. And then we set up an EGM properly, and then we call for everybody to come, and including him. He was in the, we send it in the group, and plus we send an email directly to him to inform him about the request of the members and then the setting up of the EGM. So when we get to the EGM also, obviously members will have to discuss on the agenda and adapt the agenda. All those procedures have happened. We discuss on the agenda, and then other members suggest this, other members suggest otherwise, that vote of no confidence on the president. Other members suggest that we go and listen to the both parties, and they will be able to decide which way to go. And other members suggest no confidence on everybody.
Oh, including yourself.
Yes. You have to expect those kind of things. Okay. Yes. So it's a democracy. So we go through the process, then we table it down. We say, now it's on your table. You look at it and decide. So we adopted the agenda. We go through the agenda. Unfortunately for him, he did not show up, because you are asking for the disciplinary hearing. That is the ultimate disciplinary hearing right there. Because at the EGM, if you go to the disciplinary hearing, you will make your case, present your fact. Another person make his case, present his fact, and you allow people to make decision. It's exactly the same thing that we are looking for. So he did not appear, and unfortunately, he went to the platform cancelling something that he did not even call people to come. So he cancelled it. Yes, he said it's cancelled. So, but members also are very much interested in this running of the affairs. So they all show up. They all show up, and all the procedures, the requirements that should be met 15 minutes before the time, people come 15 minutes before this, after the start of the time that is dedicated, 10 o'clock, people show up. So we continue like that. And then we said, we inform them This is the procedure. As long as you are in good standing, if there is going to be any voting, we inform the members. If there is going to be any voting, only members in good standing, that is full members, and they pay all their dues, can be able to vote. That is put across right there. So now we said, okay, we hear the president. So president is not available. We said, okay, let's go to the other 6 members to also present their case. We presented our case, and then we have a file of our supporting evidence, which we also presented. We said the supporting evidence are here based on our deliberations for verification. That is what we expected of him to do. Not going around in the public, because going around in the public in itself is not professional, and it's also not telling well, because it's like you are now making more damage than good. It's always important you come at that EGM, we sort these things out internally. But the truth is, he will not show up because actually there is no evidence with him. Because somebody who has evidence and somebody with this kind of tendency can even go to the WhatsApp groups and share the evidence, because he has been sharing the communication with the minister, he sent them on the platform. So if he has actually got the proof, he would have shared it. But we really are surprised that he is coming out this way. This is also not our objective to come to. We are really avoiding the media, but the way he comes out after the EGM, it's like it's a duty. That's why we are elected in office. And we are not there to say, yes, sir. It's like, if we did not do what we are there for, to tell him that this is what the law says, let's follow the rules, then who will do? Because nobody outside is in the council to do that. So that's exactly what we did. It happens that he doesn't like people to speak their mind, because at any point in time, anybody who speaks your mind, you are sidelined or blocked. That's how we started. Because when we started, one member started to make suggestions on the WhatsApp group. He started saying, no, we should not go that, you wait for me to do it, you understand? So it's like always been, you should not talk. So for people like us, it's just unfortunate that people like us, the group that he is working with, they are so professional and they cannot be silent. And even this issue of practicing certificate that he is grappling with, because it's like he's so obsessed with this thing, that to the extent that he can do anything, because we were moving fine actually from the start.
But is the practicing certificate not important? Is it not
yes,
a vital
yes.
document of your profession?
Yes, it's important, but it has to follow the laid down rules and principles of the institute. It cannot just be like something that you will just be doing anyhow. Yeah. So basically, we emphasize to him that these things are too sensitive. You cannot be the judge at the same time you want to
judge and jury.
Jury, exactly. It cannot happen like that. So what we should do is let's follow the right procedures and try to emphasize avoid conflict of interest, because Section 14 of the Act. In fact, if you look at the Act, it's very clear. Section 14 of the Act says, any council member,
yes,
if you have a conflict of interest in any matter that is to be discussed in the council, you should excuse yourself from that meeting.
Yes.
So now, if you interpret this, you realize that even if you set up that committee, anybody who is conflicted should excuse.
Sure.
So now, how comes you are already, everybody knows that you are operating as a firm. How comes you are not conflicted? How can you rule your own self? So what is grappling?
So it was wrong for him to set up a technical committee that he was going to chair.
Yeah, technically. In fact, at the end of the day, he comes out, because we were sitting one day, because we were saying this is not right. We are sitting one day, he said that in fact, he sent a big email and saying that this matter is so sensitive that now I will take the lead. You understand?
Oh, wow.
So he inundated us with that email. Okay. Yes, he appointed. So we also get back to him. He said, no, you cannot do this. This has to come to the council. We meet and discuss about it. And then he started saying, I'm the elected president. So as long as I'm the elected president, I should dictate the pace. So basically, I think the issue is more than, and even the disciplinary committee that he is talking about. Basically, from the start, from the word go, the Act says the disciplinary committee should be set 15 days after the council kickstarts in the Act. And the disciplinary committee is clearly defined in the Financial Reporting Act. So we told him, let's follow the rules. The Financial Reporting Act says 15 days after we start operating as a council, and that these are the members of the disciplinary committee. So let's form this committee. He said, no, this one is not necessary.
Oh.
You understand? So let's leave it. Anytime there is problem, we can set it up. I say, how can you wait on when there is problem? You set it up. So, but not knowing that today he will need the disciplinary committee, unfortunately, to come and address his.
Is there a disciplinary committee now?
Not yet. Not yet. There is no disciplinary committee.
So you people are not before any disciplinary committee, waiting to be punished?
No. Okay. So now it's like he just wake up and want to set up one in the middle of the night. So because now he need it. So we told him that, you see, if he has allowed disciplinary, because I think this is all programmed. That's why he was not allowing disciplinary committee to be set up. And we are pushing hard for it to be set up, but we are avoiding also this back and forth with him. So we are managing him. It's actually, it's just like,
You are managing him, or you were managing him? Is he still part of you? I mean.
No. Now I think he is not part of us, according to the decision made by the EGM.
Okay.
So it's just like how, you are a fan of football. You see Mario Balotelli?
Yeah, well,
yes, Mario Balotelli.
He used to play for my club.
Yes, Liverpool. Yes. You know what Jose Mourinho say about Mario Balotelli? It's like, it's somebody that you take him to the dressing room, you coach him. You said, Mario, we are winning. Don't go to the field and get a red card during the break. You advise him. That's exactly what we do to this man. We advise, we will coach him, and he will accept at that place. Before we know it, when the moment we go into the field, 1 minute he will get a red card. So that's exactly how he's operating. It's like you will advise him and we will come to terms at that place. Everybody will unite. But before we know it, we will be sleeping and he is inundating us. I am now in charge.
Okay. Let me go to Lamin. Let me go to Lamin at this point. Lamin, what about this issue about the letterhead? You people went to the secretariat and illegally accessed the letterhead, which was not the right letterhead anymore anyway.
I think actually a wounded lion will always try to fight back in any instances. And I think the operation of the council is always held at the secretariat. And we don't write just as we wish to write. There is always a procedure to follow. Whatever we do, we know a day will come when members will question us, or somebody in the public domain will question us. How did you do it? What are the mandates given to you to do what you have doing? There is nothing wrong because we are anticipating this type of environment to happen. But we went to the council, and that's where we get our letterhead. It is him we should question. How did he get the letterhead? He's keeping in his office. Because most of the letter he's signing is not coming from the secretariat. He's writing them, signing them, and distributing them. It's rather unfortunate. And I think there is more to that. The fact that this man, I don't know whether he came with an agenda to destroy the profession beyond recognition. And that is the footstep they're actually doing. Because look at a respectable entity like GICA, a professional accountant for that matter. He audits people and he queries people on certain behavior. You went as an individual. You write to our bank account telling them to change the signatory mandate without a resolution passed at the council. Isn't it fraudulent? It is the highest level of fraudulent activity that somebody can perform. He went further to write to Central Bank and to GICA and other institution that has not come to our knowledge yet, that particular farms do not have practicing eligibility and therefore their contract should be cancelled. Is that not madness? This man, we actually call him. Let's say, even the issue that we have been raising here about those who have not met the criteria, we said, look, they are already within the cycle as professional and they have been practicing for many years. Let's form a committee and invite them to listen to each one of them, and we know how do we help resolving problem. Because the act came in 2013, this issue has been there. And people were practicing as a sole practicing entity since 2013 to date. How can you just come within a span of 2-3 months? You say you want to regularize that? I don't think an administrator, somebody who has the expertise of administrator, can behave like that. And that's what I always told you. You see, it's always like when you have technical people. What do you expect when you say 1 + 1? The answer is going to be 2. But when you meet with an administrator, a strategist, when you said 1 + 1, the answer will be it depends on the situation. Because they will search for a solution and then bring it on board. But the problem with John is ego. And I can tell you, if one is to check the qualities of a leader, he doesn't fall within that. And whatever he said, it's never true. Because I cannot falsify information. I am trained as a professional accountant, and I'm taught to become ethical in whatever deliverables. There are other things here. We are not here to damage him. We will not go to that level. What we know about him and other things is not our responsibility. We are here for GICA, and we will only talk the issues relating to GICA.
Okay, since you had this meeting, have you written to the ministry to talk about the outcome of this meeting? Because you had written to the ministry to say, well, disciplinary action was being taken against you guys.
Yes, I think we did, after the EGM, we wrote to the minister. And even we've been making follow-up to see that the letters actually reach the minister. Perhaps maybe when the minister receive it, he will call us for a meeting and hear our version.
Because when he wrote to the minister, he got a reply from the minister.
After a month.
So
after a month.
After a month, okay,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so this is actually our position at the moment. So that is why we came here to actually, it is not our wish to come to the public domain to discuss this issue. We wanted
this has always
Yes.
been public. I
Yes.
mean, last week you guys,
Yeah.
informed the press that you had a meeting, and at that meeting he was impeached. So this has always been
Yes.
out there in the public. It will help us, understand what's behind this, because it just occurred. I mean, it rarely happens here that an association as reputable as GICA, as you people say, noble profession. Professionals, I mean, just go in there and impeach their president. What for? So at least now we are beginning to understand some of the reasons.
Exactly, and that is why I want to make it very clear to all the listeners. He has no mandate to carry out any business on behalf of GICA. If anybody actually contracted him for any other business, follow him to settle your bill. Otherwise...
Oh, bill settling?
Yeah, sure.
Jibril should not come to GICA
GICA has no obligation on that.
For yesterday's program.
Because if, was it paid?
It's supposed to be paid.
He should pay it from his pocket.
It's supposed to be paid by GICA.
No, GICA has nothing to do with that. Because for any business, as Section 15 of the Financial Reporting Act in state, that any action or any business of the entity must be through a council decision. So the fact that it's not consultations, nothing, he decided on his own. So it is not recognized as GICA's expenses. And any previous ones that he has done,
we've been paid everything until yesterday.
So
all right,
follow him for the other one. Yes.
But this one we can address to GICA, can we?
Yes, this one, yes, you can.
Okay, all right. Yes, Mr. Acting President. Or caretaker president, interim president.
Okay. So basically, Peter, after the EGM, immediately after the EGM, we have circulated all, because those are one of the outcomes of the EGM that people should be informed. So we've circulated the letters to all the media houses and all the other stakeholders as well, including the Ministry of Finance. All these letters have been delivered.
Saying
So
these letters
this
saying
is
what?
Saying this outcome of the EGM and what are the resolutions in that EGM were clearly communicated to various stakeholders to know. And Mr. Gay, Paul, was also written to officially, and he was also updated about the outcome of the EGM, and that he should hand over, because he is having another canine in his office. So he's taking some of the office documents into his office to hold them there. So we asked him to hand over all those documents back to the GICA. Because in the first place, it's like he's having president and the secretariat and everything is there. You understand? So we also requested, as part of that letter, to hand over everything back to the secretariat. And in the same vein, according to the Act, when we meet as a council, we appointed, because according to the Act, the secretary to the council should come from the employees of the secretariat. So we've appointed Mr. Janko, Mamadi Janko, who is currently the manager at the office, because the CEO, we are still looking for the CEO. We have advertised twice. We could not get the candidate.
You've advertised twice?
We've advertised
Are the
twice.
conditions tough? I want to apply for a new job.
I'll be honest to you. The requirements, we are following the Financial Reporting Act, because they stipulated the descriptions there. So, but the requirements seems to be very tough, especially the number of experience. And then if you look at it, most people don't. Chartered accountants. You are looking for chartered accountants, and chartered accountants, wherever they are well compensated. So they did not come forward. Okay. So, but we are still doing some kind of head hunting to get a CEO and also as well a technical manager to run the secretariat, so that the secretariat can be divorced from the governance. The council stand alone, the secretariat stand alone, and then we can be able to have a balance in the institute. Okay. So that's what we decide to do.
All right.
Thank
you guys have only 2 more minutes. Who do I go to? Parmatar? Okay, let's give Parmatar just to sum up. Yeah, I think you've said everything there is to be said about this
problem. I think there is one more point I just want to elaborate. To be quite honest, it's really shameful when you can hear your professional colleague mention something that he himself knows for sure is false and totally egregious, if you permit me to say that. Paul came up with a publication indicating that 3 firms have been issued practicing license. He knew very well that's not factual, but he went out there in the public, published it in the media. To our shock, during the EGM, one of the member firm that he said was issued practicing license came out to say, no, we were not issued. But we knew no one was issued, because that is a council decision. He just want to tarnish the image. He just want to send wrong signals out there just to cause discord within the community. And this is very wrong. So just to add on to what Mr. Jata just mentioned, Paul has been elected out of office legally. Paul has no mandate whatsoever to represent GICA at any function. Like he said, he's having no access to our funds now. If you engage him, because he's a one-man person going around, he should understand. I once said this. I said we have to be very careful with Paul, because Paul he seemed to confuse GICA with his office to some point. Because I was shocked when he one point organized GICA meeting at his office. I mean, we have our head office, we have our headquarters here. Why do you want to organize GICA meeting at your office? What is wrong? And you can understand why.
Did you ask him why he wanted that particular meeting to take place in his office?
I wanted to challenge him, but when I look at the acts, I realized that as a president, he can choose the place and time.
Then that's okay.
But on a normal day, just because the acts give you that power doesn't mean you should go to that extent. That's my understanding. But put that aside, just to make it clear, Paul is no longer the president of GICA, and for the general public's information, we have a secretariat. All correspondence, I think, let me not misquote this section, is through the secretariat and the secretary. Paul should not be into the business of writing or trying to, Section 20, yes, Section 20. He should not be into the business of writing to institutions. No, that's the role of the secretariat, and we have a secretary. Any information that comes or that is purportedly coming from GICA without the secretary's signature cannot be considered valid because it's not representing the council. So on that note, I just want to thank you.
Looks like Lamin still has this will be the absolute last thing. Otherwise, right. we will charge for more.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Peter. Actually, what we want to assure the general public, the issue of practicing certificates, the council is determined to sit over it and then engage the respective stakeholders, and eventually practicing certificate will be issued to the deserving firms accordingly. So let them be assured some of those false information that has been circulating, it's false, and we will definitely ensure that the needful is done to ensure the members' confidence is not eroded. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lamin. Acting President Usman, thank you very much. And Matar, we thank you. Matar is a good friend of West Coast Radio. We don't necessarily have to go into any details about that. It's coffee time with Peter Gomez.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.